Nice, nice. So I think it would be cool if we could just wait for a few minutes for more people to join in.
Hmm. Yes, I usually do Twitter Spaces, so it is my first YouTube live.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you had ever done something similar to this.
I've done Zoom. I've done Zoom, and I do a lot of Teams calls. Through that with work, but not with the NFTs. This is the first one.
Well, I hope you find the questions I have prepared for you interesting.
I'm sure I will.
And um, this is also the first time we are streaming in Twitch, so that's why I'm taking a bit longer to prepare. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely fine. Take your time.
But I see we already have some viewers in Twitch, and we also have some viewer in YouTube. Hello, hello. And I think we can start, and as people start joining, they can either start from the beginning or catch up with us.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with a little introduction, as I tend to do. So hello, everyone, and welcome to another of our YouTube lives. This is our first time streaming also in Twitch, so let's see how that goes. I am Kira, the leader of the Anime.Limited community, and I will be the hostess of this live. And as some of you have probably already noticed, English is not my first language, but I will do my best. And sorry if I forget words or make mistakes. And for those who don't know us, Anime.Limited is a community that wants to empower artists from all around the world. And today is a special live because it will be our first live in English because today's special guest is from England. So I'm very, very excited about that, and I hope you all are too. Just a quick reminder that here in Anime Limited, we are big enthusiasts of Web3, anime, animation in general, art, music, and video games. And we love to create spaces where we get to meet amazing artists and entrepreneurs from all around the world. That's why we are always looking for interesting guests, people that are involved with any type of artistic expression or crazy crypto projects, so we can help promote digital art and explore its potential in the Web3. So if you are interested in having a space similar to this one where you can share your vision, don't be shy and contact us. The link is in the description of this live on YouTube. It can be in Spanish or English. It's very easy to just answer a few questions and we will get in contact with you. And with that being said, I think it's perfect time to start today's interview. As I mentioned before, our guest is from the United Kingdom. She is Jo from England, and she is an educator, digital artist, NFT creator, collector. She is a community builder and a mental health advocate. So that's amazing. So today we're going to be getting to know her better. We're going to be watching some of her art and learning a bit about her process and experience as a digital artist. Remember, if you have a question or a comment, you can let us know in the comments. And let's begin. First of all, I want to thank you again, Jo, for taking the time for this interview. I am in Mexico, so it's 2 p.m. for me, but I know it's a bit late for you. It's 8 p.m., I think, so thank you very much. I always like to start with our guests giving a small introduction of themselves. Would that be all right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you guys today. Very excited. So, my name's Jo, and I am from the United Kingdom, from the Northwest in the UK. And I have been in education now for nearly 13 years. And in during that time, I have gone from lots of different projects that are catering around supporting children and their mental health to supporting people now with mental health and art. So I've kind of jumped from working with children to now community building through Twitter, supporting other artists, and just basically making sure that, whoever comes as a follower on my page knows that they are fully supported with their mental health. And especially if they are a brand new creator, because we always encourage new creators to come on board, and we support them in any way that we can, whether that's by promoting their art. A lot of the artists that we do have, in Twitter on the space, especially on the Saturday, do speak English as an additional language, so they do find that a barrier. Also, we have a lot of people from certain countries that have got restrictions in place. So I like to think that, through the mental health advocacy and the supporting other artists, I can become a voice for them, and I can help them in their quest as they create, as they collect, and just build that community up.
From what part of England are you?
Northwest, so just outside Manchester.
And do you do this educational jobs in England only, or do you try to expand to other parts of the world?
No, at the moment I am working locally in a primary school, and I have no plans at the moment to teach internationally. Kind of doing a bit of both, really. In my job at the moment, I am supporting children and I'm teaching, so I get to do a little bit of both, and it's a full-on day. I start work at 7:30, and I usually finish for around 6 p.m., something like that. So it is a long day, very long day.
But very fulfilling, I imagine.
It is. It is. I come across so many children and so many families. And, every child that I've worked with, I've remembered them. And sometimes because I've been in this school so long, these children are now having children. So I've now reached that part where I'm actually seeing my old pupils come into school with their babies. So
Wow.
that makes me feel pretty old.
But wise.
It is. It's a very fulfilling job for anybody working in education will agree with me. There are a lot of stressful times. Obviously, with post COVID, we have a lot of issues with mental health in children.
Hmm.
But the school that I work at are a family. We're a huge community, and the children are just coming on in leaps and bounds now. And we really feel that we're getting past that COVID, that
Hmm.
phase where children just didn't really know what was going to go on one day to the next, as neither did we.
Yeah, adults didn't either. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And how long have you been educating?
I started educating in 2009.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like 13 years, 14 years. I'm losing track now. It is literally losing track. But I've worked with children from 3 years to children who are 11, 12 years.
And do you only work with children? Have you ever worked with adults as well?
No, I haven't worked with adults in that capacity, mainly because of my qualifications. I'm specialised in primary. Over here, we have key stages. So you have key stage one, key stage two, key stage three, and so on. And here, I'm just specialised more for key stage two, key stage one. So I don't tend to work with older students. But maybe one day, maybe one day.
I imagine it's very different. Like you have to train yourself in a different way to teach adults.
Yeah, I think there's a whole new skill set when it comes to working with adults. For one thing, the qualifications, your subject knowledge has got to be a lot more in depth. Primary age, we do cover like everything on the curriculum.
Oh, I think we missed the audio. Hello, Joe. Can you hear me? Yep, we have missed the audio of our guest. Give me a second. Let's see what went on. It's weird speaking in English, but it's fun. It's a great opportunity to practice. Sorry for this, guys. These things happen. It's also the first time we're doing an interview with someone from so far away. But let's hope we can fix this soon. Yep, she left the control room. She's probably just having some issues with her signal. Let's give her a few seconds. And I know it's a weird schedule for this space. We normally do this at 6 p.m. CST. So thank you for everyone in the community who is taking the time to join us. And this being in Twitch is also a bit intimidating. So thank you everyone who is also coming here to say hi. Kenshin, Jarm, thank you very much. Oh, I think.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I just got a phone call come through and it just completely cut the room off.
No worries. Here I was just waiting for you.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for coming back. So you were telling us, I don't remember, where did we left
We
off?
were just talking about the lessons and the curriculum
Yes.
and how different it is to working with adults to how it is working with children.
And how did you know that art was your calling?
When I was at high school, I designed one day this picture of some fruit in a basket and I showed my art teacher, and he said to me, right, what you've got there is a talent. Just keep doing it, keep getting better, think about your shading. And he told me to read these books. So I read these books and I got to my last year of my GCSEs. I was just about to take art as a subject. And my father intervened and he said, no, you need to take history instead. You're going to drop art. So I dropped the art and I did the history, and I really regretted it. So like whenever I was at home, I wanted to just keep my art skills going. So I would just draw, I would paint, I would just, just get like a piece of paper, a biro, and just draw and just basically create anything I wanted to do. And it just like it just went from there really. Anytime that I had, I used to draw, and I just kept drawing and drawing. Then, of course, we've now hit a digital age. So, we were able to then like go onto the iPads and, you can have all of these different apps like Procreate. And I found that out one day and that was it. I was hooked. I was like, that's it. I'm just going to draw. And I got a digital pen. And any artist will say, when you're in that field, you're in that field, you're in that zone. And that was my like little safe place. I loved coming back to that zone. And yeah, I've always been interested in art. And I'm inspired by a lot of modern artists as well as the ancient artists.
So you're completely self-taught?
Yeah, yeah. I'm self taught. I haven't done a single art course other than my art lessons through 1990 to 1994.
Oh, that's amazing. And when
I
did you?
just use my imagination. I just think about what I'm doing on my iPad and then just go from there.
And how long was it that you did this jump into digital art?
When I first discovered Procreate, and then I was learning then about crypto, and I started to become an investor in certain like crypto projects. Vault, for instance, I loved Vault, and looking at the illustrations for Vault and what people were doing. And there at that time, there was talk of an NFT collection coming out, and it was really just starting to, scratch the surface. And I spoke to my partner, and he was explaining to me what NFTs were because I was fascinated with it. And he showed me in great detail, how you could turn your artwork into an NFT. So I was inspired by him, and he's really helped me in all this time to just think about what I'm doing as an artist now. How can I, like share that with other people? And so I joined OpenSea, and I never expected my collection to sell. Never expected it in a million years. I first started off with photography. I went to Dublin, and when I was over there, I took loads of photographs, and I put them on Procreate, and then I added like different tones, different textures, colors on there. And then one day I found out about animation, and I was literally just exploring through Motion Leap, and I realized that you can add fire, you can make things move. And from there, then on, that fascination then with animation and that creativity, it really evolved. It really has evolved in such a short space of time, really.
Yes, it's amazing how things have developed in such a little time. And would you say there is an artist or a particular artist or someone who inspired you in your art?
When I was younger, I was very inspired by Monet, because I'm very much into nature, and I loved his paintings, the way that he would merge the colors and the flowers, like, the lilies, and they're just stunning. It's just stunning. His artworks are beautiful, and I was so inspired by that. And then when I found AI, I'm an AI artist. I found out more about AI. I discovered about another artist called Claire Silver, and Claire Silver is now my new inspiration because I see that she is now, everywhere. She's international, and she's a woman. She's proving that, we can go beyond crypto. Women can now do anything. And I mean, we had International Women's Day yesterday, and I spoke to so many women in this space who said that they're AI artists and they feel so empowered in the art movement right now. And, I think Claire Silver is a huge, huge force behind it. Really is. She's amazing.
Ah, you have to tell us more about her. And yeah, I'm very intrigued with everything that has to do with AI. I actually have a few questions about that later.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. But first, in general, would you say you have an artistic style or do you follow an artistic movement?
I would say I have an artistic style. Yeah, I would say. Um, I would say that I'm very inspired, as I say, by nature. So I tend to have a lot of landscapes in my art. But then saying that, I'm also intrigued by people, and I like to take, images of people and turn it into a story. Because when you go on Mid Journey, you create this image, but it's just an image, and then you play around with it. You can animate it, you can add music to it, and then it becomes a story. And that for me is really important, that when I am creating, whoever is going to collect that, they see the story behind the piece. So I would say, yeah, I do have a variety of artistic styles, but I do tend to always really drift back to nature. And my artwork is very much mindfulness orientated too. So there is a lot of calming, relaxing scenes in my art too.
Yeah, I actually noticed that. And for those of you who don't know, I put an image up some minutes ago. This is an illustration of Joe, of course. Um, what can you tell us of this illustration?
Okay, well, is this? I can't actually see it. Is
Um,
that the one with the rainbow?
yes, this one is called The Rainbow Within Me.
Yes. Okay. So this one was generated on Midjourney. Midjourney is my favorite AI engine right now to use because you can have such a variety of images. And for me, I think it is the most sophisticated AI engine that I've used yet. So this piece was made. I was in a very happy mood. It's rainbows. It's very light, and a lot of my art does reflect off my emotions. So yeah, this piece is really like special to me because it just goes to show that we're all color, we're all life, and we can illustrate that in our art. And I think that's where AI is so much fun, because you can literally imagine anything from your own ideas, get that into the coding, and then you come up with that, and then you can play around with it. So yeah, that was the inspiration for that piece.
Could you maybe elaborate more in the process that you do? How do you work with the AI to create this?
Okay. Well, I joined Midjourney, and Midjourney are a Discord. So they have AI through their Discord. You have lots of different rooms, and you can generate so many different images, and you have to subscribe. So you subscribe every month, and you get around 300. I can't remember exactly now, but it's something like that. And I think it's like £10, £11 a month for the subscription. And when you've got the image, then you can download it, so you can save it. But as any AI artist will tell you, once you've generated that prompt, once you have put that prompt, because you need to have a sentence of words, you need to have something for the AI to work with, that then becomes copyright to you. So that is your image. You have created that. and that then is yours. You own that. So for copyright, I think that's really important when you're using apps like Motion Leap. When I first did my collection of the singing flowers, the flower collection, I wanted to make sure that any audio that I could use was licensed. So I emailed Motion Leap Direct, and they said to me that it was available for all commercial projects. Um, Obviously, only if the image is our own. So, as an AI artist, it's really important that you do use your own prompts. You do generate your own ideas, because if you take someone else's, that's not yours. And I think it's very easily done. And you do sadly see people falling foul of that as well. And obviously, it's not just that for the person who's made that art that had their art stolen in that way. No, collectors then buy that art and they're not aware that it's not that person. It's someone else. So I think, you do have to be really careful. But Midjourney I have found to be the best. And I enjoy it so much. I've cancelled all my other subscriptions and I'm just using that right now.
I imagine there is a certain skill that you have to develop to be able to communicate exactly what you want the AI to create, to represent what you're imagining. So, was it hard to getting to that point in which you knew which words to use and how to communicate with this technology? Or did it come naturally?
Yeah, sometimes it did. Sometimes it did, because like nature is pretty easy, for your imagination to come up with calm lake, flowing waterfall, ripples on the surface, that kind of thing. But when it comes to the people and the emotions in those images, I really wanted to get a more detail in there. So, for instance, in my object collections, some of those prompts were like 500 characters long, just to get that detail. And I think any AI artist will tell you, prompts just take a lot of thinking. Sometimes you can just put one or two words in, but if you want it to be exact, you want that detail, you want it to be crisp, and you want it to have that realistic feel, it's really important that you include that in your prompts.
Is there a limit to how much detail you can ask the AI?
No, I've never found a limit yet. Obviously, there are some words that they will not process.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have to be obviously careful with that, because, for safety reasons. But yeah, it is pretty much a bottomless pit. It really is. And it's so much fun. Any AI artist will tell you, you can spend hours and hours just thinking about prompts and then just testing them out. Sometimes it takes me up to 300 prompts to get the image right. And I am quite picky with my art as well. So it has to be the right colors, it has to be sharp. And, that does take time to build that up, but it's worth doing. It really is worth doing.
I'm curious. And for example, if you wrote an entire paragraph describing what you want and you prompt it and the image comes, and then you maybe modify one or two words, for example, instead of saying black, pink, but not really changing the essence of the image, and then you prompt it the next day, does the image is similar, or is it completely different?
If you've used the exact same words, it's always different every time. That's what I love about AI. You never get the same image twice,
That's insane.
isn't it? And that's the beauty of AI. That's why it is so fascinating. And it's such a tool. People say that AI is taking over the art world and replacing physical artists. Well, I disagree, because you're always going to have physical art. You're always going to have people who, design from their own hands. And I think AI is now seen as a tool. You can still do that, but you can use AI, you can layer your work up. Sometimes what I do is I make my own work first, and then I put it into an AI machine and see what that comes up with, looking at that same image. And yeah, it's really interesting what it does produce. What I also like as well about Motion Leap is it has its own AI engine in there as well, so you can play around with that. And I think it's free to a certain point, and then you obviously have to subscribe. to get the premium features. But if you're brand new to I cannot recommend enough trying Motion Leap, Dream, Starry Eye. There are so many when you are first starting out that you can explore. And then when you find one that really works for you, like for me, it's Mid Journey, you can then explore that further and you can investigate new techniques. You can look at new prompts and you can, I mean, there are so many websites with ideas for prompts on there. So you can mix up some of those and add your own. Or what I like to do sometimes is I take that image and I put it on Procreate, and then I will change the colors around or I'll add things. And that's why animation is so much fun, because you can incorporate creatures into your art. You can really bring that image to life. And you can do it with stills, but I think animation just gives it that extra flair. And I think a lot of the artists that I speak to these days now all would agree with me that animation, it just makes it really stand out.
It really brings things to life. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Mm.
today, which would you say are the tools or instruments that are essential in your process?
I would say essentially Midjourney. Then I would definitely say Procreate, Motion Leap, and another one is Vimage as well. Vimage again are really up and coming, massive, massive community for artists on there. And I would say that they've got a lot more features too, a lot more nature features that you can add through animation. So yeah, if you're a brand new creator, then definitely check out those apps. They're iOS and Android, and they're iPad friendly too. So you don't have to be confined to your phone screen. You can do it on the iPad. I don't know about any desktop apps. I only tend to just use the iOS, but I think we're really just scratching the surface with AI, and I think people are just starting to come on to that idea that yeah, it is a tool and we can use it to our advantage.
There's so many things I want to say and talk about that, but I do have some questions planned for later. But I put up another image, sorry, that's
Mhm.
called Secret Hideaway.
Yes,
I really,
yes.
really like this one. So what do you use as inspiration to come up with these concepts?
Okay, well, for me, after I've been teaching all day, I just wanted to have a place in my head that I could just switch off in. And for me, this was it. And this was what I wanted. I just wanted a peaceful, quiet area with beautiful flowers and creatures flying around, and that fantasy element, and away from civilization, away from the primary classes that I was teaching that day. So yeah, I made this piece when I was ready to just switch off from teaching, and I just put myself in the zone, and I used Motion Leap. I've used Vimage in this image. It's a Mid Journey, again, a Mid Journey image here. And I just wanted to just really make that landscape pop by brightening the colors in it. And also, I originally did want to make it as a video, but the NFT platform that I minted it on didn't take videos. So I then turned it into a still. But this was originally a animation, and it did have audio as well. But with a GIF, you're not able to use audio, only with video. So I had to adapt it for that way, really.
And as we also mentioned before, I noticed that nature is a theme that you keep coming back to. And I know that England, I've never been to England, unfortunately, but I've seen movies. And I know it's filled with gorgeous, really old forests and beautiful landscapes. Is there a particular place that inspires you that you keep coming back to that influences your art?
Yes, there is a beautiful forest. I don't really want to give it away because it will give away my location. But it is a stunning forest that's very near here. And it has the most amazing views. And it is just a place where you can escape to in the spring. It's full of woodland flowers. It's very peaceful. There's a huge lake that runs around the outside of it. And it is definitely a place where in the spring, you will find me on a Saturday morning with my flask of coffee sitting on my bench. So yeah, we're very fortunate in England that we do have a lot of beautiful, forests. Further down south, you have a lot of natural restored areas too. But where I am, it's very woody, so you get a lot of wildlife here as well.
Oh, that sounds amazing. You're so lucky indeed.
You will have to come and visit one day.
I should. I definitely have to. I put on another image. This one is called Hopeless, and we see this kind of half drowned face. Is this a metaphor of how someone feels when they are hopeless, as if they are drowning?
Yes, definitely. Um, I for one used to suffer with depression and anxiety, and I made this piece because at that time there was a lot of issues going on in my life, and I felt like I wanted to portray that into the art to show someone that you might be struggling, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's always somebody there that can pull you up out of that water and save you, just give you that hope and give you that realization that it might be really awful now, but hopefully one day things are going to change for the better. And I think using that effect, just I think it really brings that home, that that person is drowning. However, there is always going to be somebody there to help. Yes, like I said earlier, I think emotion mixes very well with an artist, doesn't it? When you are creating, your mindset and your emotions play a huge part in what you produce. And I think anybody with depression will tell you, when you want to just shut yourself away and you feel so much despair that you don't really want to be getting up out of bed in the next day, you don't want to be talking to people, you need to find something to focus on. And it's very hard when you are depressed to find that and to get that kick and that drive. And for me, the art was how I did it. My drawing, by creating, I was able to pull myself out of those depressive episodes. And lucky for me, I've got a lot of support, a lot of love in my life, and I've just been like fortunate enough now to think about what helped me and how can I help others through my own experiences. And so that's why my utility is purely mental health. Absolutely. I think, it's a well-known fact that art therapy can help people. And, if you've got somebody who has got so many emotions going on, then just give them a paintbrush and you will be amazed what they can produce if they are in that mindset. I think it depends on that person as well, though, their strength from within. If they are absolutely drowning and it's so hard then for them to see anything with such color, it's very hard for anybody to do anything, even getting in the shower, brushing your teeth. It's huge when you're depressed. So I think, if we can encourage people to turn to art and try and find an outlet that works for them, and to have that belief in themselves, that will hopefully help their mental health, and then they can support others and they can then learn from their experiences and use it to shape, as an artist, because we are all shaped by our emotions.
And how long have you been into health advocation? How did this come to pass?
I would say with mental health, it would have started in 2014 when a member of my family experienced depression as well. And at that time, I used it even more than to not just do the drawing, but to also look into how I could support her And through one of my contacts, I was told about this organization called Mind, and they supported young adults and their families. And I'd never used them for my own depression, but I needed at that time some support for me so I could support them. And Mind were amazing, very, very informative. There was somebody there, there was a text message service, and you never felt like you were on your own. You never felt like you were abandoned. And I owe a lot to Mine for being there and supporting me and her at that time.
Um, Thank you for that. I am Diana. Thank you, Diana, for being here with us. Also, I see there is Ellis Darius. Thank you very much. I remember everyone. I would like to remember to remind everyone, sorry, that if you have a question or you want to say a comment, go ahead. I will read it out loud. And you mentioned before, Yo, that art can be used as a tool to help with mental health. Have you done this yourself with your students?
Yes, yes, I have some children at school who are struggling with anxiety, and we've been doing lots of like drawing together and also mindfulness coloring. So I've been encouraging them to color and to create. And I've got a group of four children who I used to work with, who are now what we would call digital leaders in school, and they use the apps as well on the iPad to create for themselves, and we print it off and they like to take it home. And I've been encouraging them a little bit too with crypto and NFTs, because I think children are the future, obviously, and it's generational thinking. If you try to explain to somebody who is not in the NFT community what an NFT is, they look at you like you've got four heads. They just don't understand the concept, but children just do. I think now is the time where we have a lot of children who are also creators. I've met through the space that I run a child who's in the States, and he's only 8 years old, and he's now doing conferences and joining spaces, and he's supported by his parents. But I feel like this is it, isn't it? This is the next generation, and we are crypto minded. This is how we need to be. So I really do think now that we should have some kind of crypto on the curriculum. There should be more expression for NFTs in schools and explaining what they are. And I'm really hoping that in the UK we could adopt that within the next 5 years, but who knows?
We'll see, hopefully.
We'll see. We will see.
You have this amazing utility that for every 10 NFTs sold, you donate £10 to Mind. And well, obviously, this is an amazing way to support mental health through your art. And that's amazing. First of all, thank you for doing that, because I do believe that mental health is incredibly important and it has to be spoken about. And we have improved, but I think we still have a lot of space to improve with that. Um, you told us a bit of how you got to know about Mind, but why did you choose Mind and from any other charity or institution?
I did look into lots of other charities as well, but one thing that stuck out for me was that Mind were there when I needed them. So for me, it's kind of a way of giving something back to thank them for their support that they gave us. So I think, for me, Mind, it's just special to me in that way, that this relative probably wouldn't be here alive today if it wasn't for them. So that for me was a huge point in the decision. But there are so many other charities too. You have Samaritans, and you have a lot of other organisations in the UK who are very much, mental health themed now. But for me, Mind were just always going to be my key utility because of what they did for me.
So it's a way of giving something back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really nice. I put another image up. This one is
Okay.
called The Strength Within.
Yes,
We see
this
this
is actually very
gorgeous
recent.
woman.
This is very recent. This is like my most recent one.
Oh, and I think it's perfect for today since yesterday's was Women's Day.
Yes, that's why I minted it. Yeah.
What can you tell us
Yeah.
of this piece?
Okay, well, here you have a very strong, beautiful woman, and she's staring ahead at you, and she's confident. And with it being women, empowering women yesterday and the International Women's Day recognition, I just wanted to make that really come across in this piece. So, I would say I kind of used myself on this image. I thought about myself, like how, you know, I have had rocky times and I've tried to come out from it. I've tried to build, I've tried to show that I'm not going to crumble. I'm not going to be, one of those people that hide away from depression. You need to talk about it. You need to get it out there, and you need to have that confidence to do so. And I think, this piece is empowering to me, and I hope for any collector, because they just see that strength. They see that, that resilience that I think all female artists need to have, not just men, but female too. I think we all, as artists, all must have that resilience and be tougher skinned, because it's hard, it's so competitive. And I always say to the people who attend my space on a Saturday, comparison is the thief of joy. Never compare yourself to others. Have that strength within yourself and be proud to do what you're doing. And I wanted it to come across in that image, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I absolutely see what you're saying. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but her face seems like, and her neck seems like it's scarred, like if she has scars that are coming from the back to the
Yeah.
front. And I think that really works with the name, The Strength Within, because even though she has been hurt, she is still proud and she still has her head up high. I really like that.
Thank you. I'm really glad that you noticed that. Yes, because a lot of the images that I've produced have been very different to that. They've been very sharp, and the skin has been almost picture perfect. But no, I wanted her to look more like cracked, is the expression, isn't it? Like more flawed, but underneath there is that strength.
Damaged but whole.
Yes, yeah. And I'm actually just just about to mint another piece. I'm saving it for super rare or known origins. Just still waiting for the application process. And that's a very similar piece. It shows a beautiful woman with cracks, and her skin is flawed, and there are so many imperfections. And her eyes just alone just tell a story. And I think with this piece as well, I wanted it to be that you don't have to be beautiful in the eyes of society. We have so much expectation on us as women to be beautiful. We have so much, you have to fit in with this box, with this crowd. And it doesn't have to be that way. We're proud to be us. We're proud to be who we are. And every single one of us are unique. And I really wanted that to show in that piece. So that's on my Twitter.
Well, it's already published then?
And no, it hasn't been
Ah,
published.
okay.
I just gave a little preview.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Sounds amazing. You also mentioned that you used yourself as inspiration for this image, but do you normally use real people as inspiration?
Not really, no. I mean, it depends on the prompts. If I'm putting in realistic, then the chances are you are going to get a realistic person. But any AI artist will tell you sometimes it can take, hundreds and hundreds of prompts, because a lot of the times you get a person with six fingers,
Yes.
seven fingers, and it's not always that like easy to see at first. But for me, I feel like it needs to be realistic. However, sometimes I think, those imperfections are what makes that piece. So I think it really just depends on the prompt really that you're doing. But it is like really time consuming to sometimes get, you know, the right prompt and the right person that doesn't look like they're kind of merged into an alien and a woman.
We have KK Duck here. Hello, Just Mac. Thank you for being here. This is kind of a random question, but maybe since you have had some experience with AI, you may know. But if I want to do art using an AI tool that uses the image of someone I know, is there a way to feed the AI with images of this person so that you can ask the AI to, maybe create an image of your partner with your dogs or something like that? Is that possible?
Well, I do know on the app Dream, you can put your own images in. However, saying that, I would always air caution on that because, it's a real person at the end of the day,
Hmm.
and you just don't know if they've got permission to do that. So, for me, it's a little bit of a black and white area. I tend to work with images that are generated AI. I don't tend to really put myself in, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But I
Interesting.
guess, it's again another area for exploration. And as long as it's safe and licensed, I think, and the person has got full consent, then I can't see there being an issue. There are apps where you can put an image in and it will recreate a very similar image. It's not the exact image, but it does give you a similarity. And, I think that can be like really enticing for new creators too, because it's quite hard sometimes to think of a prompt. And I think, if you've got that ability to upload an image and then to see what the AI engine produces, in the beginning, that does give you a few more options as well.
Hmm. I guess it would also, there had to be an option like to feed the AI, but that with that information that you're feeding it, it can only be used by you, like not be fed like to the entire AI for everyone else to use as well. Maybe
Well,
using a regulation
mid
like that.
journey, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of artists. It's crazy how huge mid journey has got. And every single artist has a different prompt. And every single prompt produces a completely different image. So even if you put the same prompt in 3, 4 times, you will always get different images, which is what I love doing because you just never know what you're going to come up with.
That's
So
amazing.
definitely check out Midjourney. If you are new to creating, I definitely recommend you check out Midjourney or Motion Leap again. Very good, both for new creators, especially in digital AI.
I keep telling people that they shouldn't be scared of AI. Go
Yes,
play
don't be
with
scared
it.
of AI. No, it's literally getting out of that comfort zone. I understand. I think especially in Twitter, sometimes you join a space and they'll say, "Oh, we don't want AI art, we don't want any links up. Just tell us if you're AI." And it's already causing a stigma. It's making people think, well, why should I be, put in a different box? I'm an artist too. We're
Hmm.
just doing it a different way. And I think, that's what AI should be now. Like I said earlier, it's a tool, it's a way for people to explore and to reinvent their art in some ways. I mean, it's completely dependent on the artist. I'm never going to say to somebody, oh, you should be using AI, because at the end of the day, it's all personal choice. But if you really want to experiment with AI and you've never done it before, then get out of your comfort zone and just try it. Go on Motion Leap, just make a few images, join Midjourney. You will be amazed at the variety and the tools on offer. You can upscale images too, so that makes them more sharper. You can use videos on Object. Again, another platform we'll talk about later. Object is right now getting so much traffic. You can upload videos, and that's another key reason why I like Object.
And also that AI art will not diminish the other types of art. It's going to be like an entire new category of art.
Absolutely. I mean, who could replace the Mona Lisa? You can't replace the Mona Lisa.
Agreed.
Nobody is going to be replaced. There's always going to be physical artists because people want to do physical art. you know there's always going to be options for artists to do experiment with so many different medias. You've got so many options now available to digital artists, physical artists. I talk to people frequently in the space who, I mean, there was one person who was designing her own art using fruit. She actually used physical fruit. She used the juices of fruit to make these NFTs, and they were
Oh,
incredible.
that's
I've met
amazing.
people who use plants. They use the plants to recreate things. Acrylic paints. We have Fred. Oh, he's gonna hate me now calling his name. He's my co-host on a Saturday, and he's using acrylics, and he actually uses house paints So he uses house paints to, to design his physical pieces, and I've just picked one of them up. And if you haven't been like following Fred, I don't know where you've been, because he is amazing. He is also doing a collector's space too, to help collectors and to talk about their art that they've collected, which again is promoting the artist. So there are so many connections I've made now. I couldn't possibly tell you every name. There are hundreds that I've now made in 15 months of being in Web3.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
community is insanely
massive.
accepting and
It is.
supporting. Hmm.
Mm, it
Oh,
is really.
I would also like to ask you about commissions. Do you make commissions?
No, I haven't had anybody say to me, "Can you make this piece?" I haven't had that yet. But if anybody did want me to do that, then I would always be open to that. Obviously, with AI, it is literally just whether or not you can recreate the exact prompt that they want. Because, like I say, it can take 200, 300 times to get it right. But yeah, if anybody ever wanted to DM me and ask me to try and make an image of their granny's chihuahua, for instance, yeah, I'm always up for stuff like that.
Good to know. So I've put another image up. This one
Mhm.
I found in Foundation. It's called Fierce Faces.
Yes.
And it says in the description that it was designed in Procreate and Vimage. And for those who don't know about this or they have never heard about these apps, could you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, certainly. Well, Procreate is one of the iPad apps. So it has a host of varieties of like genres on there. You've got so many. It's just literally a playground for digital artists. It really is. You've got paint, you've got calligraphy, you've got drawing. There's so much. And what I love about Procreate is the colors. You get a color wheel. So you can make your own colors or you can use their colors, and you can also upload your own photographs on there too, and mess around with the images there. So it's just got so much versatility. It really is so versatile for any artist to use. And this piece that I made, and I minted in Foundation, it was my very first NFT that I did make in Foundation, and I was so happy. It sold for 0.01 ETH, which at that time was around, I think it was like £15. And I remember just feeling so proud. So that piece is very special because it is my very first Foundation piece. And when I made that, I just wanted to just use a host of colors and just chuck together so many different textures and animations. And you can see in the background, there's like smoke effects. So again, it is a still, but that had been animated, the smoke would have been moving, the colors would have been merging together. And yeah, it is a big contrast to the other artwork, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually feel like this one is very dark and maybe even a bit scary with the red eyes and the skull.
Well, I do actually like to create some things that are a bit dark. I do have a collection called Species, and there's like 50, 60 people who love dark stuff with me. And I have been known to make a collection of cannibalistic snowmen.
Wow, I have to see that one.
And they sold, there is such a variety. I just don't think you should be boxed in when it comes to being an artist. You should be exploring different things, and I think that's what it's fun. If you box yourself in, it's not as much fun. But if you are open to trying different areas, and there's so much, like, I wouldn't say creepy stuff, but there's definitely stuff that is quite thought provoking. And a lot of the art, like you'll notice, has sometimes got secret messages in it too. So yeah, it's fun. Play around with the dark side, guys. Just
Count me in. And I have another kind of a random question, but as an educator, if you had a child who really, really wants to become an artist and you're like his mentor, I'm making like an imaginative situation here, but would you start teaching him from a very young age AI art, or would you try to first help him develop his traditional art skills, and then introduce him to AI?
I think I would introduce AI. Introduce AI first, because this is a new generation we're talking about, and AI is really, like I said earlier, just going to be at the forefront. I really do think in the next 5 years, AI is it's going to be huge. I mean, it's already huge now. But when you've got a child who is fresh to art and they are creating and they're using AI, you then start to see their imagination come alive too. My son, for instance, I've been trying to encourage him to do it, and he's had a go. He's had a go, but he says to me, "Well, I like my own art better," and I was like, "Well, that's absolutely fine, but you can do whatever you feel comfortable with." And at the end of the day, I think, as long as this child has support, as long as this child knows that they can create whatever they want to create, they don't have to be confined to a certain area. Just let that child's imagination loose and introduce them to AI. Definitely introduce them to AI, because you would be amazed what some children can produce with AI, and then they add their own artwork to it. So it is fantastic now that what we do see coming out in the space.
Interesting, and not what I was expecting. By the way, there's Diana here. She is saying hi to CryptoKitty. I am Diana.
Hi.
I put another image up. It's of one of your NFT collections I would like to talk about. Uh,
Okay.
this collection is called Out of Fetish. It can be found in OpenSea. I really recommend everyone here to go see the collection. The link is in the description below in the YouTube live. These NFTs are actually animated, and so that means like they have like this constant movement that really brings it to life. So what you're seeing now is just a screenshot of the NFT, because I cannot show GIFs or videos in this app, unfortunately. But so you can give yourself an idea of how the NFT looks. What does autofetties mean?
Oda Freddy's was just a name that I came up with one day.
Okay.
I just wanted something different, and the previous collection had been Kaleidoscope Dreams. And as anybody who's on OpenSea will testify, and I'm sure will agree, you have so much freedom with collection names, don't you? You can just come up with anything. And Otafetis just popped in my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that.
It
But my
sounds like
partner as well, like I said at the beginning, he inspired me, and he was like giving me ideas in the beginning as well, so we kind of like looped them together, and yeah, we've come up with a lot of different things. Different names. When I have like a brainless moment, I will just send in my image and I'll say, look, love, what can we call this one? And he's really instrumental at helping with that.
nice. This is almost like the collection named itself.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it just grew because that was one of my very first collections, where I was experimenting with photography, AI, physical pieces. It was so much variety in that.
So this NFT I'm showing right now is the one called
Mhm.
Flickr.
Yeah.
And this one called my attention because it is a real picture. I imagine it was taken when you were describing us before when you went to Dublin,
Yes, yes.
because it says in the description. But how exactly did you create this? Because you mentioned you also experimented with photography. So you took these pictures with your cell phone, with a professional camera,
No, all with my iPhone.
with your
Self-taught with my
iPhone. Nice.
iPhone. Whenever I was out and about, I would always snap pictures so I could draw up the pictures. And I was in this park in Ireland, and it was just such a beautiful park. There was like roses on one side, there was a little pond on the other side, and there were these steps. And the steps just really like just grabbed my interest. Never mind the pretty pond, never mind the roses. These
The
steps
stairs.
just pulled me in. Yeah, it was like going upstairs. There was like a little secret garden around the corner, and I just wanted to explore it. And I just wanted to just take a picture of those steps and zoom in, and I did. And then I had the idea of adding, animation to it. So the beauty of Vimage is you can change the sky again on Motion Leap. You can change the sky any color. You can turn it into nighttime. You can turn it into a sunset. You know, you have got so much freedom to try to choose. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to add some fire. I'm
Why
just
not?
gonna add some fire, add a butterfly, change the sky, you know, make it a beautiful sunset, and add a little bit of mystery to it, because I think the steps alone just were mysterious. And you know, I went up in that area and it was beautiful around the corner too. There was this gorgeous woodland, and it literally was just like a little secret garden. So yeah, that piece again was a very early NFT that I made, and I think it sold within a day. I remember
Nice.
thinking, wow, wow, someone snapped that up.
Do you still use a lot of this technique?
Yes, yes, I do like to do that. I like to take pictures on my phone when I'm out and about. Like I say, it's very woody here. It's very pretty in the spring and the summer. So I do love to do that. Yeah. I haven't done actual like photography for a little while yet though, really. But I think maybe this year I'll definitely, yeah, get back into that.
And this technique came to you naturally, like you didn't saw it somewhere else and said, I'm gonna try it, like it just came up to you, the idea?
Yeah, I just put it in this app and literally just played around with it. And I was really pleased with what came out.
That's cool.
It
And
is all imagination. AI artists just thrive on imagination, like any other artist does.
absolutely. And could you tell us more about the process of how you do it? Once you take the picture, then how do you superimpose the animations?
Well, it's all through the app. So you basically just choose the sorry, upload the image, and then you choose the feature that you want to include in there for the animation, and you click on it, and you can resize it. So you could have it huge, you could have it like empowering the picture, or you could have it very small. And a lot of my artwork, you will notice that there are tiny, tiny details quite often. And one of the techniques that I love to use is if you've got a house with windows, you can like actually add curtains that move. So it kind of gives it a bit of a, yeah, a spectral effect. And I think it's just like mysterious. And that's the great thing about Motion Leap and Vimage, because all of these elements that you're putting into your artwork, they just change it completely into a completely different story. And that's why I like to play around with it so much.
So I just realized it's already 3:03, and I told you it was gonna last an hour. So whenever you have to go, please tell me because I could go for a while longer. But I do still have some questions for you if you don't mind.
I'm absolutely fine.
Yay, whenever you feel tired, you can tell me, like, hey, I got to go.
You'll probably just hear me yawning, but no, I wouldn't yawn.
um, I put another image of the Autoferis collection. This
Mhm.
one is called Heaven's Garden Gate.
Yes, yeah,
It's super cool. I feel this one, as well as many others I saw in this collection, is inspired a bit in fantasy. There may
yeah.
not be like fairies flying all around, like there's not evident fantastical stuff there, but I something about it wants me to see fairies in there. So is
Well,
fantasy?
what little girl isn't enchanted by fairies? You
Yeah.
know, growing up, my nan used to have these storybooks with fairies in them. And I was just entranced from a very young age, and fantasy, imagination just go with, don't they? They just go together. When I made this piece, I was thinking purely of that fantasy element. And also the colors. I really wanted the colors to jump out and to really bring this piece to life. And then it was a case of, right, what animations are we going to add? You know, and we got bunnies.
Ah, yeah, these are adorable.
So you got bunnies in there. You got fairies and bunnies, and it's all nature, and it all ties up into this like, you know, fantasy. And that's why, you know, I liked making it. It was just fun. It was really fun.
I also noticed that you also take the time to put a description in every NFT, and I really, really like it when artists do that. Like it gives a final spark when they describe or create a universe or a lore behind their art. I really appreciate this. And this one says, Heaven hosts the most beautiful of gardens. The gatekeeper is the sweetest soul. Do you write this?
Yes, yes. All the descriptions are, to me, absolutely key in the art. I think if you've got an image and you've got no description, what I feel like you're only doing it half, like a description can really bring that piece to life and really seal it. And I think for me, because I love poetry, I do write poetry, and a lot of my artworks have got poems enclosed. And I think, like you've just got that opportunity to tell someone a little story about that piece or to include some poetry. And I just think it's such a missed opportunity, especially with large collections where people put hashtags. To me, it's kind of just taking that personal away. And I think, NFTs and art are personal at the end of the day to the creator and to the collector who buys them.
And it can completely change the essence of the image. I have one example of this later. But do you write them before or after creating the art that comes with it? Does the phrase inspire the art, or does the art inspire the phrase?
I would definitely say that when I have done the image, then I look at the image, then the description comes to place. Always do the
Oh.
image first, then the description. Yeah. I think because then you can see in it, especially when it's AI, that piece then, and then when you're making your description, you're being guided by the elements, you're being guided by what that piece is telling you, that story behind the art. And I do find descriptions very hard sometimes. I've said to my partner so many times that I'm really struggling. Can you just give me a little bit of a clue about this? What are your personal feelings on this piece? And what he tells me then, I kind of put that into the description. So you will notice that some of my pieces are Spanish because my partner is native Spanish. So I feel like I like to add a little bit more interest sometimes and just change it around a little bit. And I think it grabs people's attention. They're like, why is this English girl using Spanish names in her art?
And overall, what was the most important thing you learned from the experience of creating an NFT collection?
Okay, the most important thing to remember is always, if you are definitely using audio, always make sure that it is yours to use, that it is commercialized. I would say that's the number one thing. After that, I would say just take care with it. Don't rush it, and don't go into spaces with that it's going to sell mindset, because I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves when they're on these Twitter spaces to sell. They go in with one idea only: I'm just going to sell myself. And if that doesn't happen, that can leave that creator feeling so deflated and so desperate sometimes. And that's why, mental health is so key these days, because in this field, it is so competitive and it can tear you apart. You have to be strong. You have to now think, when I'm going in that space, I might not sell or I might sell. But at the end of the day, and I always say this to new creators, it's not about the sales. It's about establishing a community, getting to know fellow artists, especially AI artists, and just getting to know that person on Twitter. And that's what we really wanted, this space that we run on a Saturday, Fred and I. He's my co-host at the moment because it's talking KryptaKitty. Sorry, KryptaKitty talking with pals, and it's more. I'm so tired. Sorry, and it's more just like bringing people together and giving people, an opportunity to share their art in a space that is mental health friendly. So you're going to have people with anxiety who would not normally join huge spaces because it's terrifying. You get given a time limit, and then you have to talk about yourself for goodness knows how long. And in that time, you're then also thinking, I've got to sell this piece. And I think that is just so much pressure. So what Fred and I really wanted to achieve, and Bitchware as well, because Bitchware was one of the creators that I originally started the space with, we all wanted to just have that area where artists could feel safe, they could feel supported, and they could relax, and they could just come in and be with friends. And if they sell, they sell. If they don't sell, then they're building a community. Because every time you come into the space, you meet new people. Every single time we run the space, there's always a new face. And that for me, as the host of that space, and Fred and Bitchwa will agree, that's what it's all about. It's bringing people together giving them a platform to be, there, and to focus on themselves, but also in a place where they feel safe when it
Hmm.
comes to mental health. And that is just so important. I know I've been in spaces where I've had near panic attacks at the sound of my name being mentioned. And I'm like, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. So for that reason, we run with the mindset that we don't keep a list, we don't reset the room all the time. And I think that might annoy some people sometimes too, because they say, oh, we've been waiting ages and we haven't had a chance to speak. But we only run for 2 hours. And in that 2 hour slot, if you turn up on time, we can always guarantee you will always get that opportunity to come up to the front, because we say, when you are ready, not when we're ready, when you are ready, then you can come up and you can present your artwork. And we just say, put your hands up. It's like being at school. Put your hands up, we'll give you the mic. But people like that, because then they're not being like surprised. They are given that time, they're ready to come up, and then they share. And I've made so many fantastic connections now in the last 9 months that we've been running the space. And I'm really excited to see, where this space goes. I really am.
That's amazing. We have been doing like something similar, but with a very different format, just like this. So I generally try to find people that I find that have interesting art or interesting projects and invite them. And at first, I thought it was going to be harder. I didn't think many people would be interested in, but I've been impressed by how many people have come forward and accepted the invitation. And I've really noticed that everyone has something important to say. Everyone has a good lesson that everyone should hear. So I do think it's important to create these spaces where people can share their vision and share their work, especially now that it's so hard to have your stuff seen because there is so much out there.
Yeah, it is. I understand what you mean by that. It's kind of like an oversaturated market sometimes,
Yes.
isn't it?
Hmm.
Mm,
So creating
yeah.
spaces where you can empower them and give them like this is your space for your art, it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day as well, like when people come into that space, we get people that come back week after week after week because they just want to hang out with us. And that is really nice for a space to have that atmosphere. I get people DM me afterwards saying, I've had a really awful day today, but I've just been in your space and I already feel lifted. And that's what we wanted to achieve. We just wanted people to come in and feel good about themselves, and feel proud of themselves, and to show their beautiful art. I have lost count how many NFTs I've collected in that space now. It's a
Wow,
lot. It is a lot. I think in total we're at 1,200 now, possibly.
that's
With
amazing.
OpenSea, and yeah, from the very early days, definitely. Like I say, I'm definitely losing count now. But every time I collect a new piece, I am always entranced by it. I'm always inspired by the artist. And it is just when you see the determination and the passion, that comes out in these artworks, it's fantastic. I mean, we have Diana. I've just done a collaboration with Diana. So Diana is an Iranian artist,
Mm.
and like me, she's very heavily centered around mental health, and she's also a poet. So it just made perfect sense to team up with Diana. And her name is Brilliant Art on Twitter. And together we have come up with these images, again, AI, and we've come up with descriptions, we've come up with poetry for these pieces, we've animated these pieces, we've added music, and we had a launch space for the whole collection, and we sold 18 in an hour. So that for us was like phenomenal, and we're promoting it anytime we can. Diana, bless her, I think she spends nearly every day at the moment sat in spaces trying to promote it while I'm teaching. So at the weekends I like to obviously do my bit and promote it. But that's what Web3 is. It's a collaboration. If you get that chance to collaborate and connect with people, that is fantastic, isn't it? I can't think of a more positive experience.
And for anyone here who may be listening to us either on YouTube or Twitch or will watch the recording and they have an NFT collection they would like to share with you, how could they get in contact with you to hear this podcast and participate?
Well, I'm always around on Twitter, KryptaKitty. Very active, always posting every day. That is something that I will say as well to new creators who are trying to establish a community. Be careful that you don't oversaturate your page with your artwork. You want to form a connection to people. So when you are talking to other artists, just drop a comment on their page. Don't just drop a like. Yes, it's nice to retweet, but when you're first starting out, you have an algorithm on Twitter, and that algorithm is absolutely crucial to who sees your art, who engages with you, and who you see. So always think about that algorithm when you are posting. Use hashtags, really contain your hashtag to what you are broadcasting, especially if it's AI, if it's mid-journey. Add community at the end because that gives you a greater stretch. And with regard to getting in touch with me, you can always DM me. I get hundreds of DMs in the week, and I always try and reply. Obviously, we get a lot of scammers too, so that's another thing that I will say. Always be careful. If you get somebody offering to buy your collection for 5 ETH, please block them. Because I'm telling you now, they are not going to be doing that. It is a scam. And sadly, there are people who have fallen for that. They send you out a Discord link. You click on the Discord link. It happened to me. And you then join this room where it's supposed to be set up with OpenSea and a negotiator. And they say to you that we need to have, I think it was 0.01 ETH. And then we will then do the transfer. And you think you're getting 5 ETH, but you're not. You're going to lose all of your wallet. So please,
Oh my
please,
God.
please be careful. Yeah, it happens more than you think. And Twitter, especially right now, is getting very sophisticated scammers. There's airdrops going on. And not just small airdrops, large airdrops, companies that know that person has got an NFT off that organization, and they see an airdrop and they think, oh, it's an airdrop, I know that, and that page looks legit, so they click on it, and they've lost all their assets. And it's so frighteningly done so quickly. You don't have time to react, you really don't. So please don't ever click on airdrops. Just be extra cautious, especially brand new creators to Web3.
And there is no way to getting it back.
No,
Oh, that's
no way.
terrible.
No way. Yeah, sadly, I fell victim to that, which is why I want to raise more awareness of it. And as I discovered, once it's gone and you have cleared that guidance to go, it's gone. It,
Oh
it
God.
won't ever come back. There's no regulations at the moment. So I think, once we do have crypto regulations in place, and we are starting to in the UK, but I think we are really just scratching the surface when it comes to crypto, to be honest with you. In the UK, I think compared to the States, we are a little bit behind, but we are catching up.
I hate scammers.
You do have to be careful, very, very careful. And they will play on your vulnerability as a new creator, definitely.
And they will probably appear if you start getting
Mm.
involved in Web3.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna get one scammer in your feed.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I,
They're very clever because they'll offer you a game as well. They'll say, click on this link and it will take you to a play to earn game. It's not a play to earn game. Once it asks you for your seed phrase, never, ever, ever, ever give out your seed phrase. Never, ever do that. Nobody is going to ask you for your seed phrase unless they are a scammer. So just, yeah, if you're brand new to Web3, always be mindful of those pitfalls.
yeah, take notes.
Yeah, definitely.
So I also want to ask you about this other NFT that is called Illusion.
Okay.
It's like a panther. It's actually one of my favorites. And the description reads, "All is not as it seems. Look closer." What do you mean by this?
There is actually an image behind the image, but you really have to look to see it. It is, um, my daughter tells me it's a little bit like magic eye, mum. When you have to like really delve into an image deeply, and it's kind of an illusion.
Oh, I see it. There's a face. I see an
Do you
eye. I
see
feel an eye. Yes. And an
it?
eyebrow.
again, yeah, you don't see it straight away. So that's why it's called illusion. You just see this
Oh,
creature. But
now I
then when you
even
look
like it
further,
more.
yeah,
That's so cool.
it's superimposed. Yeah. Yeah, that's the great thing about these apps. You can do so much with them. No, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Now I'm showing another one that's called Collapse of a Universe. And I also really like this one because it shows how diverse your art can be. We were talking about nature, and now we're talking about what is this, like a black hole in the space. So I really like that you have that diversity, and the description is also really cool. It reads, "Within space, stars die, universes die, and are brought back to life in us. We are the stars, the hopes, and the dreams." Where did this thought come from?
It is very deep, isn't it? Well, I myself, I'm a huge space geek and I'm very philosophical as well. And when I was making this piece, I was thinking, like we are all the universe, we are the stars. We originate from the stars, we are pure carbon. And I think when I was creating, I was just in that mindset where I just felt bigger than I was. We're all tiny ants. If you look down at us from bird's eye, we are tiny, tiny, tiny ants. And I just wanted that to be conveyed that, we are so much more than that. We are so much more than that. We are the stars. We are life. We have so much potential. And also, that piece as well is quite symbolic of the collapse of the world as we know it. We are now in a digital world and we are all equipped with such potential to be digital artists. Everybody in this room can be a digital artist. It's literally just imagination. That is your paintbrush.
That's great. I love that. So this collection has 58 items. So I really recommend everyone to go check it out. As I mentioned before, the link is in the description below. But I would like to talk about. I don't think we're gonna have time for all the questions I had prepared, but I would like to talk a little bit about this next collection that's called Visions of My Memory. Again, the link is below. Um, you mentioned that this is a collection of one-on-one designs, and it is special because whomever owns these NFTs are not just collecting your art, but also a part of your soul. What do you mean by this?
Well, it's just a part of me. If you own these pieces, you own a piece of KryptaKitty. These pieces were made of, in a very positive mindset for some. And then other ones, there's one that I feel like there is real symbolism behind it. There's an image of a lake and it's stunning. And, you look closely at the waters and it looks so serene, like you could just dive right in. And then on closer inspection, you notice it's got bubbles. It's actually toxic. And I think, for this collection, it was fun to make because I wanted to convey in this the message that not everything is how it seems. And especially in Web3, you do have to be cautious in Web3. It's a great, great playground, massive, vast area that you have so much potential in, but there are hidden pitfalls. And not just in Web3, but in life itself as well. Sometimes you see something and you think, oh, that is so beautiful. And then you look underneath and actually it's got a deeper message. It's not like it seems. And that was the inspiration really for this art.
Hey, actually, while you were saying that, I put up the NFT called Toxicity. And it reads, sometimes things may appear positive, but take a closer look. All is not as it seems. This water is toxic, even though to the eye it looks beautiful. Be aware of your environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are lots of wolves, sadly, in sheep's clothing. Mm.
And this was the image I made allusion before when you were saying that one of these descriptions can change the entire sense or vibe of the image, because at a
Exactly.
closer look it would be like, yeah, I could totally take a dive in and swim around, but once I read the description it was like, nope, not everything is as it seems.
Yeah, again, descriptions just tie a piece together. Yeah, don't be afraid to use descriptions and stories. Really, really bring your art to life through descriptions, and titles are important too. Mm.
I put up one that's called Kitty City, and it's a digital place where NFTs and crypto are the new way of life and a gateway to the metaverse. I find all of this super interesting, and I wish I could go to Kitty City. But it does bring the question, how do you see crypto and Web3 changing digital art in the future, in the near future?
Well, I think it's already changed art. It's evident to see when you join a space on Twitter how much there are digital artists around now. And Web3 is growing and evolving rapidly. You have so many projects taking off and so many exciting new opportunities in Web3. And it's digital art that's bringing that together. You've got crypto tokens, as I said earlier, and please make sure you do your own research. But Vault, if you are looking to invest, Vault for me is like the biggest token there is. I'm a huge, 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 huge Vault girl, and it would be wrong to do this Twitter space without mentioning Vault. So that is like, for me, that's the token of the future. And this city was kind of like designed with that in mind, because Vault is going to take us places that we've never been before. It's the crypto, for the community. And it is just so much going on. I can't even stress enough what this project has going on for it right now. There is a new game. They have an NFTs collection that's just sold out. They have so much to invest in, and what you get with Volt isn't just a bag, you get your future. This bag is your future. If you really play it right, and you buy at the right time and you sell at the right time when you need to sell, this could change your life. But always, always, always do your own research. Anything that I say here, please do not take as my advice. Just always check it out first. But you only need to be on my Twitter page to see how many retweets I do for Volt, because I have such belief in this project. And it is the heart for me of Web3 right now. It really is. So yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go check it out.
Oh, definitely do, definitely do. But
Um,
do your own research first.
yes, always.
And only ever invest what you can afford. Don't
Indeed.
invest Nana's life savings or her house.
Talking from experience here.
No, no.
So it's getting a bit late, and I know it's very night for you. So I'm just gonna jump to the last two questions because I
Okay.
really like asking this to all our guests. But I will be showing art from the collection that you can find in voice.com KryptaKitty
Mhm.
during the answers. The first one is also a reminder that the space is soon to end. So if anyone has a question or a comment, this is your moment. So, Joe, what was the biggest challenge you had to face as an artist, and how did you overcome it?
I would say the biggest challenge for me was dealing with my anxiety in spaces. When I was trying to promote my artwork, I did feel very anxious in the big spaces. And I felt like when I was in the space, I felt like I was just a tiny, tiny face in the space. And I didn't feel like it was personal enough. So for me, the challenge in the beginning was really finding the community that helped me to grow, and finding those people. It's a challenge in the beginning because there are so many different people that you connect with. But then when you meet that person and you really connect with that person and they support you and you support them, then you can overcome any challenges in Web3. You really can. I would say the other challenges too are when you are new to AI. It's just really knowing the prompts. And again, it just comes to exploration. So it's just about trying what works for you. If you love flowers, try a prompt with flowers. If you love nature, try a prompt with nature, landscapes, whatever it is. Just experiment, just have fun. I think the one thing that holds AI artists back is the fact that they feel like they're being compared to other artists, and you need to now drop that attitude. You need to now think of yourself as, this is me, this is my story. I am producing amazing art, it is selling, and this is where I want to be. In the future, I want to be a digital artist. I want my work on every single gallery I can think of. I want it on super rare. I want it on known origin. And I want to be the one that educates new creators that are brand new in Web3 about how to proceed with their journey. Because at the end of the day, you are a team. And if you don't work as a team and you isolate yourself, then you are really setting yourself up to fail. You really need to have your community behind you. And like I said in the beginning, it's not so much the sales at the start, the sales will come. It's you having that belief in yourself and having those connections around you and being educated as well a little bit, knowing exactly, like I said earlier, the security around Web3, knowing who to trust. Don't ever answer any DMs, with links in unless you really trust that person, you've been speaking to that person, and they are in your community. So yeah, I think there's so many different things that artists could fall foul of when they're brand new, especially digital artists. But it is literally just about being educated and supporting others and building that community.
Yeah, absolutely. The other question I would like to ask you is, in less than a minute, what would you tell a young person that wants to dedicate themselves to creating digital art?
Okay, I would just say, just create every opportunity you get. Just keep creating, keep growing, keep exploring you as an artist. And, just have that number one tool that you all need, belief that you can do it.
Absolutely, that's great. Well, I wasn't able to finish all the questions I had prepared, but I know it's getting late. But thank you so much, Yo, really, really, for taking the time to do this interview. I truly enjoy talking to you, and I really, really appreciate your art, and the fact that you advocate for mental health is amazing. It would be great if everyone here could take the time to see her collections, really dive in, because there's some really, really cool stuff. Follow her in her social media. I put all the links in the description below in the YouTube live. And Yo, is there anything else you would like to share with us before we end the stream?
I would like to thank you for the opportunity of doing this interview, and I really hope that it helps anybody who's new to Web3, and they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with it. Then I really hope that what I've said tonight will inspire you and will, just keep giving you that confidence to explore AI. Don't be frightened by AI. AI is here to stay, and it is only going to get better.
That's the thing. It's never gonna be worse than it is today.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's exciting. It's very exciting.
It is. It is. It's the future. Really is the future.
It is. Well, thank you very much, Yo. I don't know how to express my gratitude. I hope you also had a good time.
It was fun. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And like I say, it's always nice to make a new connection. So I think you're amazing at what you do. And, I really, really hope that everybody shares this link and they contact you, because I think you're such an easygoing person to talk to and you're so professional. So thank you so much for your time. And also thank you to all the listeners who joined us tonight and the community who I will, look forward to speaking to in on Saturday's space. So yeah, if you want to come and join a mental health friendly art space, then talking NFTs and crypto with KryptaKitty is your space, guys.
Absolutely, I'll be there. And I would just like to make a reminder to everyone here that if you are an artist and you want a similar space where to share your vision, there's a link in the description below as well that you can send us your info so we can get in contact with you and schedule an interview. We also do Twitter spaces where they're open spaces where we discuss different subjects that we find interesting in the moment. Also, we have the shout outs that Anime.Limited shout outs, that these are NFT video messages that you can choose one from 4 characters of our animated series Waifuverse to do the shout out, including me. There is also Los Monsi, which are an amazing duo from Ecuador, and Sing Sing Rabbit, who's an amazing artist from Tokyo. And also, if you're interested in having your own puppet to make your shout outs for your community, we can also do that. Also, get in contact with us. We are in Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, of course. And also, as I said before, this was our first time trying Twitch. So, if that goes well, we will now have a Twitch channel. So, also add us there. And we share also interesting fun facts, content in our social media. So if you would like to join us to stay informed, that's amazing. And it would help us to continue empowering artists and entrepreneurs from all around the world. And we can keep generating these spaces where we combine art and technology. So thank you all for your support. That's it for me today. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. See you on Monday. We'll be having a Twitter space with a musician called Sunger. He's a DJ. So it's going to be very fun. We're going to be listening to some of his music and asking a bit about his process. So I hope I see some of you people there. And that would be it. Yo, have a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you so much. And here in Mexico, have a nice day.
Thank you so